Good afternoon, Chicago. What is good? It is your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. How are y'all feeling today? Tough news, man. Tough news. Got to bounce back from some injury news. The injuries keep piling up for the Chicago Bears. Could be a tough season as a whole. And listen, let's get into it. Let's get into the trade the Bears made today, how that affects them moving forward, and what we're gonna see. This is Pat and the people. I am Pat. Y'all are the people. As always, man, like the video, subscribe to the page because we do talk Chicago sports weekly. We are the only channel that's talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talk. So make sure that you get in tune with us. Now let's have a conversation. Let's get into it. Because here's the thing that we want to see moving forward. For the Bears to be successful over the next 5 games or so, because David Montgomery is out for about 4 to 6 weeks. Looks like he's dealing with a knee sprain, expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks after tests revealed he suffered a sprain Sunday against the Detroit Lions. We're talking about possibly returning week 11. I believe our bye week is week 10. So we're talking about possibly returning week 11 for David Montgomery. Here's the tough part. You have to lean on your offensive line, because you can't just completely eradicate the run game from your defense, or from your offense. I'm sorry. If the Bears are going to be successful, especially with a rookie quarterback going into these games, they have to have the run defense or run offense be a big part of the offense. Now, if y'all have listened to this show for any time, if you guys pay attention to, I'm one of the people that believe, listen, running backs are a dime a dozen. I think that once this is all over, you don't pay David Montgomery a big contract, you go find the next guy. But the running backs are a dime a dozen works if you have an offensive line in place that allows them to be a dime a dozen. Right now, the Bears' offensive line is the biggest concern that they have going into this. I'm seeing a lot of people talking about, should we go sign another back? And I like the trade. The Bears did go out and make a trade today. Let me get my man's name. From the Miami Dolphins. I should have had his name pulled up here like a professional, but we doing this like Chicago. Here we go. Sending Jakeem Grant to the Bears for a 2023 6th-round pick. Now, Jakeem Grant basically is going to come in here and he's going to be, what would I say? Cordero Patterson type player. You pretty much just want him, maybe a little bit of receiver work, maybe a little bit of running the ball behind the line, but for the most part, he's just going to be the kick returner, punt returner. What that does, that allows Khalil Herbert to actually get into the mix and being a running back. And I think the Bears, it again comes down to how well this offensive line is going to be able to move the ball. How are they going to be in that run offense? How are they going to be listen, now you've got that symbiotic relationship kind of starting. Last week we saw versus the Lions, Justin able to get out there, make a few plays with his, make a few great throws, make some throws that are going to put the defense on its heels. And what that does is that eases things up for the run game, but you still have to get that run game involved as well. This is all predicated on your offensive line. Both sides have to make things easier on each other. And I think that the Bears are in a position where I think you can weather the David Montgomery storm, but it's going to be interesting to see how Bill Lazor navigates this, if Bill Lazor is going to be calling offensive plays. Now, you still got Tariq Cohen on the PUP list. You're probably not getting him back for a while. From what I'm hearing, Tariq's still dealing with, I don't think he's close to coming back. I don't think we might be in a position where we're not going to see Tariq for the season, honestly. And so I'd say let's just kind of put Tariq Cohen on the back burner. But I like what the Bears did. They saw the issue that they had. They went out and addressed it. They saw that David's not going to be back for a while. We need more running back depth. Let's get Khalil Herbert back at his natural position. Let's see how he's going to play out at that position, and then we'll get somebody in here to return punts, return kicks. I like what the Bears did today. I think that it's a good move on Ryan Pace's part. It's a good job of building more depth for the team, and I think that he's done a good. Listen, I'm gonna get the praises in while I can. I'm gonna get the praises in while I can. Chris says Cohen will be back by week 6 or 7. That's not what I'm hearing, Chris. It's not what I'm hearing. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm hearing that Tariq is. It's not looking good. I'm hearing that it's not looking good. You know what I'm saying? From my people inside of there, they're basically just saying that he's coming along, but he's coming along very slowly, very slowly. So I would say look more at a Tariq Cohen as probably being gone. Maybe not for the whole season. I mean, 17 games is a long time. Hopefully he'll be back by then. But I doubt we'll see Tariq Cohen by week 6 or 7. I highly doubt that. I think that, and here's the thing. Listen, we saw the quad injury to Damian Williams, but it's been downgraded. So he seems like he's going to be okay. That's a good back there. That's a back that's won a Super Bowl. You can do a lot with a Damian Williams in that position. You can do a lot with a Damian Williams back there. You can continue to run the ball well with a Damian Williams back there. We saw when he was able to get in the game, he was still able to have good production, still able to get some touchdowns when he was in the game. You know what I'm saying? That's what you want to see. And he's got that speed. The Bears have to continue to evolve this offense with Bill Lazor as the play caller. The Bears have to continue to shape this offense around Justin Fields. And now, like I said, I like the move by Ryan Pace because I think that it makes you a 3-level team again. Jakeem Grant is a excellent kick return. And I will say this when we're talking about Jakeem Grant, shout out to P Kid in the chat. What's goody mob? When we're talking about Jakeem Grant, a little bit of fumble issues, a little bit of issues with fumbling in the big moments. Not something that you want to see coming in, but I think that he is a big piece that'll be able to solidify the special teams. I think that now if your special teams is able to get you a little bit more production, put Justin in a better position, what it does, you're trying to make things as easy as you can for Justin. You're trying to make things as easy as you can for Justin, and I think that Ryan is doing a good job of kind of setting the team up around him. Now, I will say this, it doesn't get easier. When you're looking at the games coming up, now the Raiders, I think is a game that the Bears should be able to do a little bit with. When we're talking about rush yards, they're 23rd in the league. I think that that's a game that they have to be able to compete. They have to be able to compete. Now, do I think that the Raiders are exactly what we saw last night? No, I think that they're a little bit better team than that. But I think that moving forward, when you're talking about a team that's able to go out and you're able to move the ball offensively, because that's what we're talking about here, right? That's what, I think at this point we've kind of seen that the Bears defense is going to be able to do what we needed to do. We've seen that the Bears defense is in a better position with the front seven. I think that there's some issues with your DBs coming in, but I think that if you're able to get to the quarterback, I mean, right now the Bears are leading the NFL in sacks. That's crazy to think about. The Bears are leading the NFL, I believe, right now with 15 sacks on the season, and that's with a 9-sack day by the Cleveland Browns. So we're just talking about offensively moving forward. Are the Bears going to be able to do anything? Your next two teams offensively, you should be able to attack. The Green Bay Packers, another defense that, listen, they're going to give you some room to make things happen. We're talking about 15th in the league in passing yards, giving up about 238 a game. Now 14th in the league, but still 112 rushing yards a game. So much of this season, so much of our success is going to be predicated on our running game and on this offensive line because it makes things easier for the young rookie to continue to learn. That's what this season is all about. It's all about the development of Justin Fields. It's all about continuing to develop Justin Fields. It's all about seeing him continue to get better in his position right now. And when we're looking at the run defenses in the NFL right now, I mean, listen, You're not really facing a tough one until you get to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's been clamps on the run. But these next 2 games, you should absolutely be able to get after them. Tampa Bay's been clamps. Tampa Bay, I think, giving up. They're giving up. Let me see here. Yeah, 47 rush yards on the season. 47 rush yards on the season. Wild. So the loss of David Montgomery is something that is big. 4 to 6 weeks is going to be tough to not have him out there. But I'll say this: if your offensive line is able to push like we saw them be able to do on the run in these last few games, Damian Williams will be able to be successful. If Damian Williams is able to be successful and you get that run game going, that gets Justin in a more successful place. If Justin is coming from a more successful place, that means that your offense is at a minimum putting up points. If they go with the game plan that Bill Lazor put in place versus the Detroit Lions moving forward, that will set them up for some success moving forward here. Now, I know we're a lot of gloom and doom on what our Bears offense is able to do. Oh, that's versus the Lions. We only put up 24 points. And I do think that Bill Lazor in the fourth quarter became way too conservative. But if the Bears are continuing their game plan moving forward that we saw this week versus the Detroit Lions, they should be able to move the ball on the ground, get Justin into some better positions, and have success there. I think that this Raiders game is a winnable game. I absolutely think that this Raiders game is a winnable game with that game plan. With that game plan. With how they were getting Allen Robinson involved, with how they were getting Darnell Mooney involved. When we're talking about that Raiders defense coming up, we're talking about a defense that, listen, kind of middle of the pack passing wise, but absolutely able to attack them on the ground. Still 229 yards passing wise. They're a middle of the pack defense. It's nothing crazy. You've got to go into this game with that same game plan. Even though you did lose David Montgomery, you still have to use Damian Williams now, Khalil Herbert, whoever it's got to be, as the workhorse to make things easier for your rookie so that he can make plays through the air. That needs to be the mindset going into this week. I've seen many a backup running back come in and be very successful in this NFL based on the line play. Very successful. Now, David Montgomery is one of those backs that he can be successful based on, even with poor line play, he can fight his way to get some extra yards there. I think you do lose that, and that's probably the biggest thing that you lose. But to me, losing Damian Williams or having Damian Williams step in and be your starting running back is not the worst thing in the world. And I think that you got to give some credit to Pace in the situation of, listen, the depth, at least at the running back position, a little bit on that side, you got it. And that's okay. I don't mind giving credit where credit is due. Shout out to him for finally getting it. But the Bears coming into this week have to continue to keep it simple. Lean on your defense as much as possible, especially with David Montgomery out. Use Damian Williams to try and kill that time. Split time with him and Khalil Herbert. And see, listen, here's the thing. Now we get to see what we actually have in Khalil Herbert. Because this is the mentality of the NFL right now. Listen, with the running back position, I'll use you up, and then once you're done, once I don't need you, I'll go on to the next guy. Maybe Khalil Herbert is the next guy. Maybe you're able to see what he's got. Maybe you're able to see if he's going to be able to come out and give you good production, and maybe he's the one that becomes the number one back in this situation. That's how. Listen, we cut Raheem Mostert from our practice squad. Next thing you know, he's the running back for a Super Bowl team. The running back position is too simple to replace if you've got that line in place. And the Bears right now, rushing per game, tied for ninth. Top 10 rushing offense, y'all. Who would have ever thought we'd say that? A top 10 rushing offense. 122 yards a game, almost 123 yards a game. Top 10 rushing offense. Do not change what you're doing well right now because it's working. When we've seen the Bears have success, it's been on the ground. I'm talking about just this season, not in our history. We know in our history, but I'm talking just this season. The 2 games that the Bears did well, they ran the ball well. The 2 games that the Bears struggled in, they didn't. There's a formula there. I think Bill Lazor sees it. Your goal this entire season not only just should be getting wins, but should be to make things as easy as possible for Justin Fields. And to make things as easy as possible for Justin Fields, you have to run the ball. I mean, what are we looking at right now? Right now, we got a couple of top 15 top 15 run defenses. The 49ers are tied for 14 right now. Bucks are first in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of opportunity here. And it is a tough defense. And these are tough teams coming ahead. Then you got the Steelers, then you got your bye, you got the Ravens, you got the Lions again. The Lions are where you get back right. But I'm gonna be honest with you. If going forward, if you can weather this storm of losing David Montgomery, if you go in and you beat the Raiders at 305 next Sunday, you're going into the week 3-2, then you got the Packers here. Now, do I think that the Bears are going to come out on the winning end of that one? I think they'll split with the. It's tough to say. Before the season, I said they'll split with the Packers. I'll stick with my pick. I do think this is the win that they would be best to get. Bears are right now 2-0 at home. Now, granted, against a couple of struggling teams, but they're right now 2-0 at home. Well, I can't even say that. I mean, honestly, the Bengals are killing it. And we're their one loss. They're 3-1. So if you can get a win right now versus the Raiders, you're going into this game 3-2. Maybe you do squeak one out against the Packers. Now you're changing the narrative. Now we're changing how teams are looking at the Bears. But I'll tell you this, the only way you're going to be able to do that is if you're able to run this football. We can't go back to the Nagy continuing to just pass. You know why? Because it doesn't work, and it makes your offense so one-dimensional that now the play action doesn't work. Hey, by the way, that's one of the best things you can use with Justin Fields back there. Now the rollouts don't work. Hey, by the way, that's one of the best things you can use with Justin Fields back there. The Bears have to keep it simple. The problem when Nagy's in there with the whole Denny's menu is he's trying to get too cute. Be you, bro. Nah, be somebody else. Nagy's trying to say, be you. No, be somebody else. Do I think that Bill Lazor is going to come out here and he's going to give us a lights out offense? He's going to dominate the game. He's going to put up 45 points. I don't. But what I do think Bill Lazor is going to do is he's going to see the things that are happening on the field. He does have the ability to adjust. I think that 24 points, probably what we saw, 24 to 28 points is probably the cap for his offense. Especially if he's up, more so if he's up because he likes to play a little bit passive in that situation. He likes to get a little bit more passive in that situation and play not to lose. But if you go into this keeping it simple, listen, lean on your defense. I know we've talked about the Bears using their defense too much in their history, and they have. I'm not saying put the defense out there 110%, and that's the only people that do anything. But lean on them. Khalil Mack and Robert Quinn, salute to those two. They've been getting to the ball. You're getting Eddie Goldman back. I haven't heard, has anybody heard the extent of injury for Akeem Hicks? I haven't heard an extent. We know he went out with that groin and wasn't able to return, but I haven't heard. Let me see if I can get a practice update here, because losing Akeem Hicks in that game was huge for the Bears. That was huge. If the Bears are able to make these other teams one-dimensional, now with the Packers, it might not work, but This is a good comment here. I like this. We got too many 4-4 guys to keep it simple. Here's the thing. You can have as many 4-4 guys as you want, but if the guy getting them the ball isn't able to get them the ball because it's either too complex or there's too much happening or there's not enough run production or there's not then it doesn't matter. And you can't just take deep shots all day. The best way to get those deep shots in is actually to run the ball continuously, to do a lot of the shorter stuff with Allen Robinson, and then you kill them on a deep shot. Not short. I'm not when I'm saying short, I'm not talking about a 5-yard pass. I'm talking about, 10 to 15 yards. Get those into Allen Robinson's hand. Get those into Marquise Goodwin's hand. And then all of a sudden, or get those into Darnell Mooney's hand. And then all of a sudden, when they start playing up on you, guess what you can do? You can take those deep shots. Yeah, I'm not seeing any update right now on Akeem Hicks's injury. And I don't see I'm trying to see if there's well, this is their first day of practice, ain't it? This will be their first day of practice. So we'll see today probably. It's Tuesday, right? Yeah, we'll see today if the Bears will be able to or if Akeem Hicks is able to go out there. That's big. And the whole reason I brought that up is because you have to lean on your defense here. And really, you're leaning on that front seven. I mean, Duke Shelley had a couple of nice plays, but he's just limited talent wise. Jalen Johnson, they're basically and here's what other teams are doing. They're basically saying we won't throw the ball to Jalen Johnson's side. I will say this: it's wild to have a DB like that. It's wild to have a DB like that. Like, I don't know if Jalen Johnson has done enough to prove that he's that kind of DB. But teams aren't even going to his side. Teams aren't even putting the ball his way. Now, is that more so because we know we can get to Duke Shelley? We know we can get to these other guys. That could be something to it too. But I don't know if Jalen Johnson's at that level. I mean, their teams are treating Jalen Johnson right now like he's Jalen Ramsey. I'm a little bit surprised by it. I don't know if it's more so the lack of talent on the other side, or if they really see that Jalen Johnson is that good. But it's mad interesting to me. But the Bears have to go out here. They have to lean on their defense. And the reason I'm saying keep it simple as well is because keeping it simple is going to lengthen the amount of time that your offense is on the field. Now I'm not going to say we want to see what we saw from not the Browns game. What was that game? Is it the Bengals? No. I'm sorry. The Rams game. First game of the year. First game of the year. Shout out Dwayne Smith. Shout out T-Mac. We see y'all in here, man. First game of the year. The Bears had the ball the entire time. Bears had the ball the entire game. And we're not confusing activity with accomplishment, though. But what this does is you're keeping the ball out of Derek Carr's hand, who's been, I don't know if after last night he still is, but he was the league leader in passing yards on this season. He already had 1,100 passing yards through 3 games. So this guy's been killing it. You want to keep the ball out of his hands so that he's unable to make plays. Keeping it simple takes time off the clock. Now, the thing that having Bill Lazor, having having Justin Fields in there does, you're taking time off the clock, but you're getting into the end zone. You're taking time off the clock, but you're getting into the end zone. That's the big difference that the Bears have right now. That's the big difference for the Bears right now. If they can continue to get into the end zone while taking that time off the clock, now you're in games that we're not supposed to be in. Now you're in games that that teams have said the Bears are going to get blown out in. You know what I'm saying? That's the red list. And when you got the Packers coming in, that better be your recipe. Because we already know. When Aaron Rodgers has the ball in his hand, that's a bad man. So there's a way that the Bears can weather dealing with David Montgomery's injury. I think that Pace has taken the right steps to deal with David Montgomery's injury. I like that he's getting Khalil Herbert in there. Let's see what that kid has. I like that he brings in the kick returner. I think that I'm always one of those people that listen. Muggs always just say throw a receiver back there, get a guy that specializes in this. It's amazing to me how few teams actually have a guy that specializes in running the ball back. But it's such an important part of it. Like if we had a Cordero Patterson this year, we're talking about a guy that's getting the Bears to the 30 and 40 every kickoff. Or at least that somebody that's dangerous enough that teams don't want to kick to him. It makes a difference. And so I like having the specialist in there that's able to go out there and do, hey, listen, I don't want you to do nothing. You're not going to be a receiver. Go out there, return kicks. Go out there, return kicks, go out there and return punts. That's all I want you to do. That's all I want you to focus on. Be the best you can be at it. Because those are the guys that end up putting you in a position where, again, it makes things easier for Justin Fields. Everything the Bears should be doing this year makes things easier for Justin Fields. And I'm going to be honest with you. If they do that, I think that the Bears absolutely can go in to Vegas and beat the Raiders. I think that the Bears can absolutely go into Vegas and beat the Raiders. And I think that this will be the first game versus a good team that the Bears will come out on the winning end of. I sound crazy, right? Hey, I appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with me, man. Let y'all know about a couple of things we got going up. We're going to be tailgating. We're going to get an exact location locked down, but we're going to be tailgating versus the Packers game, or for the Packers game. Going to be out there live, watch the game live out there, and then finish it off by doing a little post-game show out there with the people around us. We love hanging out with y'all, so make sure y'all come out for that. What else we got going on? We're going to be doing a live game at VIP Bar and Grill in Homewood. So get in tune with us on that. We'll have some flyers and stuff, posters coming out for that, and exact links where you guys can sign up for that as well, so that we can pack that place out. What else? What else I got? Oh, later today. So if you in here later today. Oh, shout out to Jacquees, man. He said I sound smart and they can win the game. First things first, we're going to be doing a fantasy. I'm going to have the Fantasy Whispers on at 6. We're going to be breaking down fantasy football for the week, doing that show again. We did it last week, had a bunch of you guys in there. We appreciated y'all for tuning in with us. It was a lot of fun. If you have any fantasy questions, come in there, drop those off. Listen, my fantasy team is struggling. If you're like me, has anybody had as many injuries as me? I think I have 7 injuries on them. I've had 3 COVID cases all season. This is wild. I'm having a rough year in fantasy right now. I'm stressing. So tune in with that. Hopefully my team gets some help. They can help your team as well. They do a great job. The Fantasy Whispers come in here and help us out with that. And then tonight, oh, Bulls basketball is back, baby. We got an NBA alert. And listen, I know it's preseason. I know it's nothing to get all hype about. But I've got to practice too, because we're going to be streaming just about every single Bulls game this season. So I've got to get my practice in. So I will be streaming the Bulls game tonight. 7 o'clock. Tune in with me. See Red Nation. We're here. See Red Nation. We here. Let's make it happen. Let's get it in. So we appreciate y'all. I appreciate. I don't know who I'm saying. Me and the Bearhead appreciate it, man. I'm saying we because he's here. I got 36 inches of Bearhead back here. That'll be 36 inches of Bullhead tonight. We got Bulls live stream tonight. Live call on the game. Being here for that at 7. Come in here a little bit early at 6. If you guys have some fantasy questions with Fantasy Whispers, hey, that's all I got for you, man. As always, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. I appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with me. To continue watching our Bears content, take the link in the description below. Also, if y'all ain't signed up for the FanDuel stuff, man, check that in the link in the description below, man. I need that support. I need that FanDuel support. If y'all can sign up for that with me, and then we'll have the Windy City Weekly coming out this week as well. We appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with us. Hey, yo, Chicago, y'all stay safe out there, man. Peace.